Kerisos. Okay. If they say this is Gimel Aleph. If they said to him, "You are forbidden fat," he brings cake. He brings a katas. If a witness says he ate and another witness says he did not eat, or if a woman says he ate and another woman says he did not eat, he must bring an asham tali. A witness says he ate and he says I did not eat, he is exempt. If two say he ate and he says I did not eat, Remeah declares him liable. Said Remeah, if two can bring him to the more severe death penalty, can they not bring him to the lighter penalty of an offering? They said to him, what if he would want to say I was an intentional transgressor? If he ate two portions of Caleb in one lapse of awareness, if he's liable to only one katos, but he ate Caleb blood, leftover offerings, and pickle in one lapse of awareness, he is liable for each one. In this, many kinds are more stringent than one kind, but in the following, one kind is more stringent than many kinds. If he ate half an olive's bulk and then ate another half, if they were one of a kind, he's liable. If two of a kind, he's exempt. And how much time may it take for him to eat them as if he would eat them as parched grain, as corn? These are the words of Remeah, but the Chachamim say until it takes no more than from the beginning to the end, then it would take to eat a paras. If he ate tame foodstuff and drank tame beverages, or if he drank a revius of wine and entered the temple and tarried in the consumption for as long as it takes to eat a paras, he is liable. Rabbi Eliezer says if he interrupted or if he diluted it with the least bit of water, he is exempt. Okay.
Right. Dalet. Yesh ochel achila achas v'chayev aleha arba chatos v'asham echad. Okay, so now today we're playing the game of how many averas can you be over in one action, and this is one of the most fun Mishnah sets of Mishnayos I find in all of Shas. It's complicated, but we're playing a game over here.
Okay.
How many chataos can you become liable to in one action? Okay, so the Mishnah starts out with the first bid at eat one achila and you have 4 chataos and 1 asham as well. Okay, a tamei person she'achal is a chalev. He ate chalev vayanosar mina mukdashim. And it was not only mukdashim, but it was also nosar. It was from a korban that was left over past its time, and it was on Yom Kippur. Okay, so let's count this over here. So first of all, the meat is mukdash. You got to take the timeline. So first of all, it's chalev.
Right.
Chalev is your starting isur because it was asur from the time it was created. Okay, now. Normally, we say ein isur halal isur. You can't have one isur falling on another unless the new isur is more comprehensive or more inclusive. So either it becomes asur to more people or it is included in a larger group of isurim. So those are your two possibilities. Okay, so chalev started out being asur to him with a kares. Then it was declared to be mukdashim. So once it becomes mukdashim, not only is the chalev asur, but the rest of the animal also becomes asur. So because it's in a more comprehensive group of isurim, so the second isur comes and falls on the chalev a second time. And while we're there, just by the way, that's where the asham comes from because there's ma'ila. Okay, so because there's ma'ila involved, he's going to have to bring the asham as well. Okay, so now it became mukdashim, and then it was left over and became nosar. So up until now, the korban was allowed to be eaten by people who were allowed to, either it could have been shlamim, it could have been whatever, anything could have been eaten, but then it became nosar, and now it's become asr even to the people who are allowed to eat it. So now it becomes a more comprehensive isur. So nosar also falls onto it, and the person himself becomes tamei, and he's now not allowed to eat any korbanos, not just this one that became nosar. So it's again a more comprehensive isur that's fallen on it. So now you've got four chataos and 1 asham. I beg your pardon. I left out the Yom Kippurim. So right. Yom Kippurim, when Yom Kippurim comes along, it also asks all food to him. with chatas. Okay, so that makes your 4 chatas and an asham. Rabbi Meir Omer im haisa Shabbos v'hotzio b'fiv chayav. He says, if it was also Shabbos and he walked out while he was chewing it, then he's also chayav for hotzah. And the rest of the chachamim look at him and say, Amrullah, eno min Hashem, nah, you broke the rules. Why? Because the rules are, we're talking about one action, which is the eating. We're not talking about the carrying it out in his mouth. Now, if you recall, we had the same discussion. Gosh, where was it? Was it in? I can't remember if this was in Beitza, or there was a case, if you recall, where we were again talking about Isurim, but it was talking there about lavim, about having to getting lashes. It might have been, maybe it was in Makos. It might have been in Makos. We were talking about one person doing one avera and being chayav Makos 7 times. And what was he? He was a kohen and a nazir who was plowing in a graveyard with kilayim and sowing kilaya hakerim at the same time on Yom Tov. Right, so so we had all these Yisurim coming together in one action of getting the animals, the donkey and the ox together to plow and they're sowing at the same time, and we added up like I think seven simultaneous Yisurim, and somebody else, it might even have been Rabbi Meir again, I can't recall, who said, well, what about if he was also wearing kilayim at the time? And they said to him, no, in a shame. That's a different issur. Just because he's wearing the same thing, it's not the same action. Okay. So anyway, it's a similar one over there, except there we were talking about stam lavim, and here we're talking about chataos. Okay. Now things start getting interesting.
Yeah.
Mishna hey, yesh ba bia achas v'chayev aleha sheish chataos. So here is a case where a person through having one act of sexual relations, that one illicit act is now over on 6 chataos. He has to bring 6 chataos for this. Why? Haba'al bito. He has relations with his daughter B'shogeg, and in this particular case, we'll see he can be chayav. I'll explain this out afterwards. Chayav aleha mishum bito, because of his daughter, because of his sister. Eishes achiv, also the wife of his brother. Eishes achi aviv, and also the wife of his uncle. Eishes ish, and also a married woman. The v'nida. Okay. So you need to go into the commentary. The Gemara explains this case over here. And this is a case where it started out with an illicit relationship. Okay. Where okay, so let's try and trace this out, and if we need to, we'll resort to diagrams. Okay. So our central figure here is called Reuven. Okay. And Reuven had an illicit relationship with his own mother. And from there was born a daughter who's obviously a mamzeres, and we're going to call her Sarah. Okay, so now Sarah to Reuven is both his daughter and his sister, right? Because it's his personal daughter right, but it's also his mother's daughter, which makes her his sister. So simultaneously, as she's born, there are 2 isurim on her. Okay. Now, Sarah, the mamzeres, got married to Shimon, who is Reuven's brother from his father. Okay, now this could be a legal marriage if Shimon himself is a mamzer. But even if it's not a legal marriage, it still takes effect, because it's not an issur kares between Shimon and this girl, because they're no physical relationship, because it's Shimon is allowed to marry his niece, and as for the fact that it's his father's wife's daughter, that basically makes her his stepsister, and that's still legitimate. So immediately as he marries her, she becomes his brother's wife, And why is that? Why does that take hold? Because she's now asur to also to Shimon's other brothers. So he's included in the category. So we add on the third Isser. Okay. Now Shimon either divorces her or dies. Okay. And now after Shimon, sorry, I just lost my place here. And now she gets married to Reuven's uncle. Yeah, now she gets married to Reuben's uncle, and that's also allowed because an uncle is allowed to marry his nephew's wife after the nephew has divorced her or died. Okay, but a nephew is not allowed to marry his uncle's wife. So it's not symmetrical. So therefore, now he also becomes asur to all of the uncle's other relatives. So therefore, we add an extra layer of Isser. So that's a fourth one that gets added onto the uncle. Okay. Now, at the same time, she's also Ashes Ish because she's married to the uncle, which means she's asur to every other man, and she becomes a Nida, which means that she's asur to the uncle himself. And now Reuven comes and has relationship b'shogeg with her. That's 6 chataos in one shot. Okay. So
what kind of picture you putting up?
Okay. Okay. So now, so what was the last thing you said?
What kind of picture you're going to put up for this Mishnah?
I was gonna try and draw a diagram of all the relationships over here. But anyway, it looks like that one was simple enough to understand. Let's see if we can do the same thing now that we've got this in our mindset. Haba al bas bito. Now we have another case. The Mishnah says I can do better than that. He has a case where he has a relationship with his granddaughter. Okay, and now what's he going to be? What's he going to be chayav? Let's count it. Bas bito, he's chayav for bas bito, and kalato, and his daughter-in-law, achos ishto, and the sister of his wife is a third one. Eshes achiv is number 4. Eshes achi aviv, number 5 is uncle's wife. And number 6, he's asur because of Ashes Ish, and number 7 because of Nida. So it can be 7 times. How so? Okay, so let's draw this diagram in our heads at first. So let's understand. Our central figure here. I'm going according to Kahati's commentary, is called Yaakov, and we're going to go through these relationships. Ki'ilu, it's like they're sort of parallel, more or less, but obviously not the same as the real biblical Yaakov, but you can sort of anchor yourself around that. So Yaakov, who is the husband of Rachel. Okay, so he's got a wife called Rachel, and Rachel is the daughter of Lavan. Okay, you got this so far. This is all
right.
nicely parallel.
Okay.
So you got Yaakov is married to Rachel, who's the daughter of Lavan, and he's got another wife called Zilpah. So he's got 2 wives. He's got Rachel and Zilpah. Okay, so maybe this at this point we're actually going to have to do a diagram. So let me share a whiteboard.
They have diagrams in the Mishnayos here, but they're different names, so it's hard to follow it.
Okay. You know what? Do you want to take a photo of your Mishnah, and we can follow it together. Send me a photo on WhatsApp, and I'll share that.
See if I can do this. Getting too clear. Yes, ma'am. Let's see if you can see this.
Okay, let's see what we've got. You send me WhatsApp.
No, it was under a different. I don't know if it's not clear. I can do it again. Let me see.
Did you send me one? I don't see it.
I can send it. Yeah, no, I'm going to do it right now. Where is it? Well, I don't think we have this. Sure. That's one. If it didn't come out, I can redo it.
Okay, let's take a look at this. Oh, that's video. You sent me video.
Okay. Oh, good with this. Okay. No, we don't want cinematic though. Cinematic photo. Here we go. Photo. Okay. Now we're back. Okay.
Good.
Okay, here we go. We'll try this. There's another diagram right after this.
Okay. Right. Okay.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Yeah, okay. He's actually using the same names here. So let me do a share over here of WhatsApp. Yeah. Okay. So can you see my screen?
All right. Okay.
All right. Cool. So we're starting off with Yaakov over here. He's our central figure, and he's got he's got a so he's got a daughter. So he's got a daughter, Dina. Okay, now off the and he's also got Rachel. Okay, so he's married to Rachel, and Rachel has with Yaakov and between Yaakov and Rachel, we have a daughter. Wait a second. How did we? Let's just see. Okay, I'm going to see if this follows over here in the Kahati explanation. I think it should be the same. Okay, so Yaakov is the husband of Rachel. Okay, and who is the daughter of Laban. Or wait, have we got this the wrong way around? Maybe Rachel and no, okay, we've got it the other. So ArtScroll's got it the other way around. Yaakov is married to Leah. Okay, Yaakov is married to Leah, who is Laban's daughter.
Okay.
You see that line over there, that bold line. That's
right.
That's Yaakov married to Leah, who is the daughter of Laban.
Okay.
Okay. Yaakov also has another daughter, Dina, from a different wife. Okay, she's from a different wife who's not one of Laban's children. Let's say it's from Zilpah.
Okay.
She's not on this diagram over here because she's less important. And Laban takes a shine to his son-in-law's other daughter, and he decides to marry her. Okay, so we've got a double generational skip over here where Laban marries Dina. Okay, and they have a daughter called Rachel. Okay, you see that?
Yes.
Okay, so now Rachel is Leah's sister, right? Why? Because they're both daughters of Laban.
Right. Okay.
Okay, so they're both daughters of Laban, and at the same time, Rachel is also Yaakov's granddaughter. Okay, so we've got two things. One, it's his wife's sister. Two, it's his granddaughter. Well, actually, it's the other way around. First she was his granddaughter, so that was the first issue that came on her. And the second one is that it's his wife's sister.
Okay.
Okay. And so both of them happened at the same time. As soon as she's born, it's his wife's sister and his granddaughter. Now, Rachel now decides to marry Reuven. Which, okay, why is this allowed? Because Reuven is Yaakov's son, but he is allowed to right. He's allowed to marry his sister's daughter, right? An uncle is allowed to marry his sister's daughter. Okay, but as Reuven marries her, she becomes Yaakov's daughter-in-law. So his daughter-in-law is usher to him the third time. Then Reuven divorces her. Okay. And Esav, who's Yaakov's brother, also wants to marry her, which is fine because this is also his brother's granddaughter. That's okay. Okay, so that adds a fourth layer. Esav dies or divorces her, and Yishmael comes and wants to marry her. Right? Yishmael is Yaakov's uncle. Okay, so from Esav we had his brother's wife, and Yishmael is now his uncle's wife. Okay, so she now becomes his uncle's wife, which is a fifth Isser, and she's
Right.
Ashes Ish, makes it 6, and she's a Nida, makes it 7. Okay. Do you remember that song by Ray, what's it? Ray Stevens, I'm My Own Grandpa? Okay. This is very applicable to Kerisos. Okay, so that's so those things are all together. Nida. Rabbi Yossi Omer im avar hazaken unesa'a chayav aleha mishum eshes av. He says that if Abraham went and married her as well, then he'd also, oh wait, the zaken would be Yitzchak, because now 3 generations down is only a shnius. That's only called shnius. So it wouldn't be, so that would it would be his father's wife as well, if he had married her, and then if he'd taken her in Yibum, it could, the only way that could work is if Yishmael had died without children, and then Yitzchak comes and marries her by Yibum. Okay, and then she would be his wife as well. Why? Because it's his great granddaughter. The great granddaughter is not Asr min Torah, only midrabanan, so the kiddushin would actually take effect. Okay, v'chein haba al bas ishto v'al bas ishto, and the same thing, you could work out the same configuration, which we're not going to dive into now because time is short. Where Rachel, instead of being his granddaughter, is his wife's daughter or granddaughter, so you could come out with the same configurations. Okay, and in Mishnah Vav we're playing more of the same games. Habal chamoso, if he has relations with his mother-in-law, he's chayev for her because of his mother-in-law and his daughter-in-law and achos ishto, and also his wife's sister and his brother's wife and his eshes achi aviv, and also his uncle's wife and married woman and a nida. Okay, so we're playing the same game over here. So once again, we're going to have to work out in the commentary what is this relationship. Do you have another diagram on this one?
Yeah, I do. Let's show this. I have to get this to stay straight so I can. There we go. Okay. Not the one you want?
Let's see. I got it. There we go. Okay, so now this is right. Yeah. Okay, so let's take this over here. So Yaakov marries. So Yaakov has Leah, and he's got his Sheba al Leah Bito, right? Okay, so Yaakov had relations with Dinah, and wait, present husband. Hold on. So yeah, Shiba Lavan al Leah Bito. So Lavan had illicit relations with his daughter Leah, okay, and had a daughter Dinah. So this is sorry, he had Lavan al Leah Bito v'holid mimena bat. Oh, okay, no, they've got it differently over here. That's mother-in-law, diagram 6, right, his wife. No, I don't think this is no, this is not the same, this is not the diagram that applies to this Mishnah, I don't think, is it?
Mishnah Vav, right?
Yeah, it is Mishnah Vav, but
All
this,
right, so let
this
me
is,
try this. There are two
another
of
diagram on the next page.
Yeah, let me see. There are 2 of them actually. Okay, there's one here. Okay, and then we'll send that one first, see if that's the right one. There's another one over here. Not sure if that one. No, that one's not good. Oh, that's not the right one. I sent you the wrong one.
Okay. Okay, let's take a look at this. All right. And the one on the right-hand page as well. If you can send me that one.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. All right. So first of all, we start out over here with an illicit relationship between Ishmael and his daughter Bosmas. Okay, and they have a daughter called Yehudis, who is a mamzeres. Okay, so now here, Reuven. So Reuven has this, and then Reuven marries this woman Yehudis, who may be a mamzeres, but nonetheless she is now she may be a mamzeres, but nonetheless the kiddushin catches, and therefore the issur of mother-in-law falls onto Bosmas over here for her. Okay, so now Bosmas goes through this whole thing of first of all marrying Reuven's son Chanoch, who then dies or divorces her, marries Reuven's brother Shimon, okay, who's and therefore Bosmas starts out as being his mother-in-law, then becomes his brother's his daughter-in-law, then becomes his sister-in-law from his brother. Oh, so I beg your pardon. She also is Yehudis' sister because they're both daughters of Ishmael.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then so we got 1 and 2. It's his mother-in-law and his sister-in-law, and then becomes his daughter-in-law, then becomes his sister-in-law from Shimon, and then becomes his uncle's wife through Esav. Okay, and then Reuven has illicit relations with her when she's still married, and she's a nida. Okay, and similarly he has relationships with his wife's grandmother. Okay, that's a diagram on the following page where Lavan, where Yaakov is married to both Rachel and Dinah. Okay, in the diagram on the left-hand page. Okay, so Yaakov is married to both. So Lavan has got 2 daughters, Leah and Rachel. Okay, and Leah's got a daughter, Dinah. So Yaakov is married legitimately both to Rachel and to Dinah because he's allowed to be married to his wife's niece. That's okay. So Yaakov is married to both of them. Now Leah is the woman that we're actually focusing on. So as he marries Dinah. So first of all, he married Rachel, and Leah becomes Asur as his wife's sister. Okay. He marries Dinah, she becomes Asur to him as his mother-in-law. Okay, so that's 2 Isurim right now. Then, of course, we go through the same routine of Leah marries Reuven, becomes his daughter-in-law. That's number 3. Marries Esav, becomes his brother's wife. That's number 4. Marries Ishmael, becomes his uncle's wife. That's number 5. She's an Ashes Ish at the same time, and she's a Nida. That comes to 7. Okay. Now, Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri Omer Habal Chamoso Chayv Aliyah Mishum Chamoso V'Em Chamoso V'Em Chamiv Amrulo Shloshtan Shem Echad. He says he comes up with another possibility of where he has relations with his mother-in-law, so he can be chayiv on her for 3 types of relationships of mother and daughter, right? And because of his mother-in-law, his mother-in-law's mother, and his father-in-law's mother. Now, we're not going to go into the configuration of how that happened, but the important machlok is that Chachamim say with Rabbi Yochanan ben Nuri is he's saying that each different relationship is a separate isur, and the Chachamim say to him, Shloshtan shem echad hen. They're only one isur because they all derive from the same isur of a woman and her mother, or a woman and her daughter, and a woman or a daughter's daughter. They're all the same isur in the Torah, and therefore, if he has a relationship with one of them, even though technically she fulfills 3 different relationships in one, it's still only one isur, and therefore it would only be one chatas, and that's the importance of the argument between them. Okay, we went deep into these mishnayos, and I'm afraid I have to run at this point, so we will have to leave you the chazaras to you. Okay, but that was
a great gym day. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a fascinating little excursion into the different possibilities.
I hope not.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.